Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quad Radio. It's Leap Day 2012, February 29th, as we get set the stage for the 2012 season and the Grand National Cross Country Championship just a little more than a week away. And one of the guys that I figure would be best to talk to is probably the guy that's been around the longest, especially out there on the XC1 Pro Class line. And we say good afternoon and welcome to Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher, how's things going, buddy?
Really good. Thanks for having me. And I'm pretty sure you just called me old in there, but that's okay. I'll roll with it.
Well, it's a term of endearment, in all honesty, Johnny, and I think you take that with pride, man, because like we've talked about in the past, man, you've seen a lot of seasons come and go as far as being in the pro ranks and racing the GNCC ATV series, man. So I mean, if anybody knows anything about it, you do. And the great thing about it is you're still young enough to know all this great history and race at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, over the years, I've had the opportunity to race with most all of the greats. When I first came into the game as a B rider or even as youth rider before that, I had the opportunity to race and ride with Bob Sloan, obviously Barry Hawk, Bill Balance, now during the Chris Borch years, and hope to be around for the next great thing, whoever that may be, whether it's Walker Fowler or somebody that's currently racing a mini quad that steps up and takes Chris's championship or Walker's championship or whoever it ends up being here 10 years from now. And I'd like to think I'll still be out there racing. Maybe not on the front row anymore, but definitely still out there banging bars with them. Maybe when they come to lap me instead. But yeah, it's been a good run, and every time this year it's real exciting. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Everybody's making their final preparations, mental, physical, and mechanical, getting ready to roll. And a lot of people are already down here. Those that aren't are packing up the trailers and getting ready to head south. And it's just a great time to be involved in GNCC racing. The one thing I heard years ago, and never really thought about it. They're put it in these terms, I guess you'd say. But Chris Borch is our current champion. But when we line up in River Ranch here in just short 8-9 days, whatever it may be, everybody's got a clean slate, same number of points, and basically everybody's a champion in the making until Chris or whoever it may be proves otherwise. That's right.
Everybody's tied for the championship at round number 1, and that's what makes it so exciting, because right now, people are dreaming of that. They realize that, and they realize everybody's starting from ground zero, and everybody's got the same chance at this point, and a lot of people are digging deep right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's, whether it's somebody down here in Florida working or somebody up in Pennsylvania or West Virginia or wherever they may be, everybody's got their heels dug in and trying to get the most they can out of their equipment, they can out of their bodies, and, mentally preparing themselves to come out swinging. And, the great thing about racing is you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, you can run the statistics, you can theorize, you can look at people's past performances, but the bottom line is when the green flag drops, all bets are off.
That's it. And a lot of it is prep time right now. And I know a lot of people are digging deep. You've talked to them. I've talked to them. And even you, Johnny, you're digging deep. And I know that we talked there, I think it was a week or so ago, last week actually, you were telling me about you having some issues where you couldn't ride the bike, but you decided to go ahead and go out and do something you haven't done in a long time, nearly a decade in training, and that's go out for a run and a jog. And you found that you have pushed yourself to new limits and not even realized it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's one of the things that really is good about racing beyond just the enjoyment, the career aspect of it is it really does keep you in good physical condition. And, I definitely towards the end of last season let myself slip conditioning-wise. And over the course of this winter, been working pretty hard to get back to where I need to be to push for those 2-hour events. And in the process of, like I said, had an injury, wasn't able to ride for a short period of time there. Took some time off the bike, just kind of let some ribs and other issues heal up. But while I was off the bike, Chris and a few of the guys that were here, Miles Miller, he's a dirt bike guy, they kind of pushed me like, let's go for a run. I've had issues with my knee ever since tearing several ligaments and breaking a couple bones, actually, when I was racing the Motocross Nationals back in 2000, and have not run since then. And to be honest, didn't run a whole lot before then as well. So to actually go out and click off a mile was a milestone, literally and figuratively. To do 2 miles was a big step. To do 3 and been stepping it up from there. So definitely it's a new perspective on things. I feel conditioning-wise, I'm the strongest I've been in a while, and to be able to actually illustrate that by being able to put in some road work that I haven't done in, honestly, probably 20 years is the last time I've done any measurable amount of running.
And I'll tell you, Johnny, in all honesty, that is a great reflection. Your conditioning level right now is a great reflection of what the ATV class has literally built into. I mean, what it takes to run in that class. I mean, here we are looking at you. You're one of the top XC1 guys, top 10 guys there, top 14 overall. I believe that's the number you're going to be running for this year, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I unfortunately did not have the year I felt I should have, but regardless, still anytime you're in that top 20, that's the elite group, and last year I was number 10, so don't like to go backwards. Actually, the word on the streets I've heard from a few people is that as I get older, I'm only going to continue to go backwards. So that definitely light a little fire under my keister when I heard that one, and I'll have to prove some people wrong. I mean, you look at a number of guys that have been competitive well into their 40s, whether it be specifically in GNCC. You got guys like Rodney Smith, Doug Dust, and across other sports that are physically strenuous as this, guys like Lance Armstrong. I'm not. Please don't mistake my saying that I'm in any of those guys' league. I'm not saying I am, but it gives a guy like me definitely something to shoot for. That my 34th birthday will be this coming Wednesday, and coming into the season, I'm not shy to say that I'm looking for my best year ever, and I'll be disappointed if I don't have it. So anybody that sitting at home that maybe is listening to this that they say they can't come out and compete, whether it be in a vet class or an A class or Pro-Am, or hey, they want to jump up and run XC1. I'll be 34 years old going to line this year, and I don't think my age is definitely any kind of a handicap. If anything, it's a benefit to me. I've learned a lot over those years, and looking to put it to good use this year.
Exactly, and I think experience is a key tool in the GNCC racing anyway, and you've got plenty of that, and the fire that you've got lit under your tail. But like I said, the reality of it is the talent field is so deep right now, Johnny, and you know these guys pretty well, and you have a pretty good handle on what's going on as far as the top guys are concerned. As we mentioned, you're running in there at the number 14 this year. We've talked to a few other guys like Gabe Phillips and Eric Hoyland. They're running in a top 15 as well, but they're going to be staying in the XC2 Pro-Am class. Other guys are in the XC1 Pro class, maybe just wrapped up their rookie year, maybe seasoned veterans. Let's go ahead and break down that Pro class and take a look at what the season holds for these guys, man, especially heading into it. You know what's been going on, and looking at what you're seeing right now, how are you feeling about this championship? I mean, as we take a look at it right now, we got Kevin Yoho weighing in there at the number 10 spot here in 2011. And that was a pretty good step for that kid right there. I mean, he's been kind of a quiet guy over the course of his whole rise through the GNCC. He's made the noise, but he's done it quietly, if you know what I mean.
Sure, yeah. Kevin's a local guy for me, actually being Northeast Ohio. He runs the Competition Riders of America, the CRA series that it's a big, strong series in Northeast Ohio and stretches a little bit into Pennsylvania as well. And my dad knew him long before I did, and told me years ago, I think Kevin's 22, if I'm not mistaken now, and when he was a 13 or 14-year-old kid, my dad was telling me he was out there racing, and he said, hey, this, 13, 14-year-old kid's out here on a 450, and he's rolling pretty good. He said, this is somebody you're going to be racing against in the future, and my dad didn't give that endorsement to too many people. He was pretty stingy with his compliments, even when it came to his own kid, for sure, but he saw some potential in Kevin. Kevin's definitely gone about it a little bit different way. Definitely he's a grassroots kind of kid. He works hard. He works a full-time job in the strip mining industry. So he does this as a side thing. And if you talk to him, he has no punches about telling you he never wants to race full-time, or at least doesn't see it as realistic. He races for fun. He races to do the best he can. He certainly wants to do well and win, but he's old school. He goes back to the days when guys like Bob Sloan and Chuck DeLulo and even Barry Hawk and those guys, they worked a 9 to 5 and they would grind it out, and they'd come. And even Bill, when he won his first summer championships, he spent all that time on the farm, and he'd come racing on the weekends and give it everything he has. And Kevin's definitely one of those guys. Certainly doesn't have all the opportunities in some of the factories or the full-time riders do as far as being able to train and ride all the time, but he makes the most of what he has. He's a strong, tough kid. He's learning a lot. Last year was his first year in the XC1, and definitely really turned a lot of heads last year, and I expect to see him do even more this year. He's stepped up and changed some things in his program, actually upgraded to the newer Yamaha. He's been on Yamaha basically his whole career, minus a short stint on Polaris. And he, as soon as he jumped back on the Yamaha, started doing real well. Now he's come to the newer style, fuel-injected aluminum frame bike. They were hesitant to change because of just wanting everybody else to kind of get the R&D in. Now that they see everybody riding and doing real well on the bike, he made the change, and he actually sent me a text the other day and said he couldn't believe that he had ever raced the old bike. After racing the new bike, riding the new bike, he's got a couple months on it, and he jumped back on the old bike just to try and ride one day, and he said he felt like it was just so inferior. So definitely look for him to turn some heads this year. In talking with his team manager, Ryan Smith, over at BNR Motorsports, Kevin's really stepped up his training, been trying to get down south a little bit on weekends, and I know you did an interview there with him on Quad Radio, and he's a good kid. I think he's really gonna surprise some people this year with his results.
For sure. And then there's another guy that we don't want to leave out. He was last year's number 9, comes in this year at number 12, and that's Jeff Pickens. And that's another rider that I think that is kind of overlooked as far as his actual talent and what we've seen so far out of that rider.
Absolutely, and Jeff is, I would call him Mr. Nice Guy. I mean, he is one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet, inside of racing, outside of racing, would do anything for anybody, but he's a fierce competitor on the track, and, that's something that there's a lot to be said for. Just a great guy, great ambassador for all his sponsors. He's got a lot of talent, and even more so than talent, he's one of the hardest workers you'll find. I got to know Jeff pretty well over the last couple of years, did some traveling with him, and, you can learn a lot about somebody when you're locked in a truck with him for 17, 18 hours, and he definitely is another one of those guys, not a racing legacy. It's not a family thing for him. I mean, certainly his family's behind him 100% and come to the races, but his I believe it was his uncle raced some utility stuff back in the day against Mike Penland, and that's how Jeff even found out in racing, and it wasn't until he was actually in high school and got a job and earned some money and went out and bought his own bike and decided he wanted to give it a shot that he started running some, I believe it was 250B and 250A, and then kind of that was when the whole class structure changed, and he worked his way up through the A classes, and around the time everybody switched to 4-strokes, he moved up into that Pro-Am class and made a name for himself there, but he's always been a guy that wanted to get to that next level quick, never really stuck around in Pro-Am long enough to, he won several races, I believe, and just never stuck around long enough to get that championship and really get his name to the top there. And then last year had a real standout year in 2010, with earning that number 9 and to be amongst the elite 10 athletes within our sport. Certainly a huge accomplishment for him. Made some changes to his program last year and had some issues with an off-season injury, had surgery on his knee, and definitely sure he didn't have the year he was hoping for. But I know he's been working real hard over the winter, and I expect to see him come out strong and definitely turn some heads as well.
For sure, going to be looking for Jeff to really turn some heads this year, no doubt. And, Johnny, I tell you, it looks like we've come to the end of our first segment. We'll continue with segment number 2 coming up here in just a few moments. For those of you that want to tune on over, we welcome you. For those of you that don't, we appreciate you listening. And that's Johnny G. I'm Rodney Tomlin. This is Quad Radio.